is the GMologist, GM extraordinaire, the GMologist.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Geomologist podcast. I have a very special treat for you all today. Today with me is Dee McKinney from Kismet Games, most notably known recently, that's very awkward, for very successful Kickstarter for Rustwater. So how are you doing today, Dee?
Yeah, I'm doing really good. How are you?
Good. Also with me is our roving reporter, my wife, Amy, partner in crime. So
Hello.
yeah. So Amy's gonna, I don't know, chime in here and there. Hopefully ask some cool questions too. But
Mhm.
for those of you, we know Dee from the BSRCon and that the BSR Discord,
Yes.
right? We played. Amy played in some of your games
Mhm.
during the last BSRCon 4. I unfortunately did not get into the games, but Amy is very excited about them, and we've been trying to get you on. I'm sure you're very busy writing and with Rustwater, and of course all the other hobbies that you told us you have. Well, let's get into it. So, how did you start in this awesome hobby that we share?
So, like a lot of people, but not everybody, I picked up the box D&D set at a local hobby store in 1980 when I was in high school. I started playing D&D for several years. Then I went away to college and discovered that there's champions out there and played champions for many years. And then when I moved to Athens, Georgia, I started playing Mage, the Ascension. And that led to Vampire, and that led to Changeling, and that led to Werewolf. And so I played mostly either a hero system or White Wolf, I would say, for 3 decades. But lately, I've found some great games that I love, like Basin. That's probably my most favorite recent game. I've also played a fair bit of Monster of the Week. And we just concluded a really fun Dragonbane campaign.
That's awesome. Yeah, I really been wanting to get Dragonbane to the table. Monster of the Week is kind of on my home group's sort of list, and Basin, I've gotten all the stuff, and I really Free League
I
is
see your
my
show.
favorite publishers right now.
Mm-hmm.
That they get and the games that they make, I really enjoy. And we I think my favorite game right now is One Ring, and Amy plays
Yeah.
that game. So that's
Mhm.
it's really fun to play. It's a fantastic game. So I guess you started with the Holmes then. Is that what you're saying?
It, I think so. We just called it the box set with the bronze dragon on the front,
It
but
has
or
some
brass dragon.
bronze or red dragon, blue cover.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
that's him.
Yeah, I started with the Moldvay, which is the one with I think it's the sorceress looking through, or with with the sort of dragon coming out of the water, I think. Or can't tell. I could never tell if it was a dragon, but sort of an Errol Otis cover. So we've been
Yeah.
playing about the same length, which is amazing. And then I champion. So I that's one of my that was one of my games way back. I would say late '80s, early '90s. I kind of
Yep.
started with like I was in that fourth to fifth transition,
Same.
and then I loved revised and a lot. I mean, I kind of. Do you still play champions? I just
So I still love playing superhero games. Our group tends to find champions a little too crunchy for its taste.
yeah, the front
So
end.
yeah,
So
yeah, I like it, but then I've internalized all those mechanics over the
mm,
years, and I know not everybody has done that, and that's fine.
yeah, yeah, I think it's pretty interesting, and that's probably maybe something we could chat about and talk about when you get to talking about your games and like so there's like a games that I feel like champions, which they seem
Hmm.
or say Rollmaster, for example, seem
Right.
very crunchy, but then when
Yep.
you get to playing them, it runs really because it's very front loaded, right? So
Exactly.
like
And
character creation is a bear, right?
correct. Although I had it down where I could do it in 10 minutes or less.
Oh, for a champion,
But
how many points?
we're like 150 point
Okay,
character.
okay.
So again, that was months, if not years of play, and then it just sank in. It was like a different language, but We loved it, and I have many, many happy memories of just playing really good Champions campaigns, not always necessarily pure superhero,
Right.
sometimes a little hero noir. Yeah, good stuff.
Were you ever familiar with a platform called Hero Central?
Don't think so.
Okay. Yeah, it was a platform made by one of the guy who created the Hero character creator, and he ran a server and a platform, and I that's why I, you know, learned a lot of Champions and Hero system. I had some fantastic times with that, and some of the people I still game with, like Jason Hobbs of Hobbs and Friends, I met him
Hmm.
Hero Central, so I think it's really cool. It
Cool.
was like early aughts, I think so. So that's pretty neat. All right,
Yeah.
so we that's great. We play similar games. I don't know, Amy,
Hmm.
if you have any questions to ask Dee so far?
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay.
Amy, can I ask a quick question? I know you played
Of
my
course.
Psionic game. Did you play Rustwater with Wayne? I cannot remember.
I did not play Rustwater. I
Okay.
played in the Psyche one. Yeah.
Okay.
Is
Cool.
that? Yeah, so again, Kismet Games, I will put the link in the show notes. You have products on itch.io and drive-through.
We do. And so let me just chat a little bit about Kismet Games.
Yep.
A long-term gaming friend of mine, good buddy, named Wayne Peacock, and I co-founded Kismet Games in 2019. And we were noodling on it, and then there was a pandemic. So we had a fair bit of time to noodle
Mhm.
because we weren't gaming as much as we used to for obvious reasons. And so Rustwater has evolved since 2019. As you mentioned earlier, we had a very successful kickstart for the quick start, which is
Okay.
everything complete adventure that one needs to play. The full rule book, knock on wood, all things considered, should be coming out next year. It's written, it's laid out, it's
Oh, nice.
edited. Yeah, it's ready to go. All
Are you doing
original
a
art.
Kickstarter for that as well?
We are.
Okay.
We really wanted the experience of having a small Kickstarter, something under $2,000. So that's why we did this, just to get the Kickstarter experience. We
Okay.
did not want to take that big of a risk with the entire product, but it went really well. So we actually are seeing a little bit of income for all of our work.
Oh, well, that's yeah, it's a bonus. We all love the hobby, and I guess, I don't know if we dream about making money, but I think it's more the love for the hobby
Yeah.
and
You
creative
Mhm.
process as to why
know,
we do what we do, design, whatever. So,
I may have told Amy this, I can't remember, but I put myself partially through grad school working freelance game writing.
oh wow.
Started out at a whopping 3 cents a word, but by the time I sort of had been doing it a year or two, I was bumped up to 5 cents a word. And, for a 30,000 word piece, well, it's not so bad.
Yeah, yeah. So what notable freelance work do you have that's out there that we can direct people towards, if it's somewhere, if it's available?
So 95% of it is White Wolf. And I think the work I'm proudest of was the Kinfolk first edition book. I worked on I'm trying to think, Book of the Worm, Book of the Weaver, second edition. Um, did a bunch of werewolf stuff and a bit of changeling stuff. So mostly werewolf and changeling.
Adventures, or you did, like, I guess, these are like
So,
setting rule books or
source books, yeah, like
source
for
books?
the different tribes
Oh wow,
or
okay.
so on. Mm-hmm.
And this was for a werewolf apocalypse, or
Yes, Werewolf Apocalypse.
okay.
Not Forsaken, although I think I might have done something for
Oh,
Forsaken.
maybe. Yeah, I have a
Yeah.
large collection of Forsaken. It seems like Apocalypse is now coming back because Onyx Path is trying. So are they bringing some of your stuff back, or can you still get it?
Yes, you can. You can get it through Onyx Path or Drive Through.
Great. Okay.
Yeah,
I'll
it's
check
some
that out.
classic stuff. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
good stuff.
Amazing. That's great. Yeah. So, all right. So we're talking about Kismet Games. So
Hmm.
we'll get to Rustwater.
Okay.
Let's talk about what you guys have at Kismet first, and then your latest project being Rustwater. I think that'd be a good segue.
So I know you understand this. Neither of us, neither my business partner nor I have a business background. We didn't know anything about marketing. He's an extrovert. I'm an introvert. We didn't really understand much of the business picture. So we did a lot of our own research. I took like a free what I can't remember, it was LinkedIn or something like that, just like a free what is marketing course, very straightforward. And so what we truly love are writing the entire worlds with a system. And also Wayne really particularly enjoys writing short adventures. He just did a bunch of nice short adventures for Shatterdark.
Okay.
We've done together a couple of things for Vason that we're selling through Free League Workshop. But we have different strengths, and I like to think that we bring a lot of different things to Kismet. I'm an innate planner. I'm nothing without my lists and my calendar. We both very much like the creative aspect. We've gotten better at the business aspect. But again, that doesn't come easy to either of us. So.
All right. So are the Vason products and the other ones you mentioned, the Shadow Dark, are they through Kismet? Are they like Kismet is on? Or
Yes.
Okay, great. So
yeah, and those
I guess
are
you can
all
find
available.
Those on drive-through for sure. Then
they're all on drive-through.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
And the nice thing about the Shadow Dark adventures, and Wayne wrote all of those, is they're pamphlet sized, so you can take
the threefold.
Yep, exactly. Yep. So there's 3 of those. He has done. It's that competition drive-through has every year where they give you a theme and you write a game. He's done that a couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
He has also done a fair bit of OSR stuff for those who like OSR games.
Yeah, that's cool.
But me, I've got like the 2-3 year planning calendar. I've got things, like sort of the roadmap for our design and our writing. A Rustwater, again, is the big book is going to be out hopefully around this time next year, maybe June of next year. And then we have another work that Amy played in. The working title is Project Psyche, and it has undergone a complete redo in the past month or 2.
Oh, neat. Well, you're gonna have to ask about that, Amy. Let's talk about Rustwater first. Then Amy can ask you a bunch of, since she played in Psyche, you said?
Project
Yes.
Psyche.
Project Psyche. Okay. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
From what you told me, it sounded pretty compelling. So, all right, let's talk about Rustwater.
Okay.
If you read on the, I guess I looked at on drive-through, weird fantasy, OSR. All right. So I guess we have to define those in the context of Rustwater. What does that mean? Weird fantasy in a cursed world. That's the subtitle.
Right. So a lot of times when you're marketing a book or something like that, you'll come up with I don't know, I'm making this up on the spot. Midsummer Murders meets X-Men. Okay. So Rustwater is Master and Commander meets Annihilation.
Okay.
The movie. I don't know if you've seen either of those movies.
Master and Commander for sure. Annihilation, is that the sci-fi movie with Tom Cruise? Maybe?
It's actually got Natalie Portman in it.
Okay.
And
the aliens. Yeah, alien stuff. Okay, gotcha. I know what you're talking about.
So we looked at what if pick a coastal European city, Copenhagen, Le Havre, anything on the shores of Spain or Italy, and Amsterdam, which was kind of our big inspiration. So what if he took 1700 Amsterdam and interdimensional beings invaded and used 4 curses to destroy the world? All right. And I can talk a little bit more about the curses. And then 100 years later, these player characters are trying to sort of make this a better world. And so one of our log lines is Rustwater isn't a happy world, but it could be. That's one. And I think there's Rustwater isn't a happy world, but your character could make it better, something like that. Mm-hmm. So the 4 curses, and I should probably share my video with you. That's like the history of the world. The first curse was red thorn, which imagine like these creepy blood red crimson thorns cut through rock and stone and destroy cities and harbors and create sort of a upheaval in the land itself. Then there's the monstrous nativity, where humans and farm animals, start giving birth to things that aren't human or aren't like a cow, but like a cow with a horn, a unicorn horn or whatever. Weird stuff, just about as weird as you can imagine. The elemental riot, where machines wake up and have a language of their own. So you now, if machinery is going to work, you have to kind of keep it happy and cajole it. There's a player
Like
character that
industrial revolution time period, right? You said
a
17.
little bit before, just a tiny
Okay.
bit before.
So is it?
So maybe think 1700 to 1750.
Okay. Right. Okay. So what kind of machines then? Like
Steam engines.
Okay.
I'm looking outside at my tools. It could be something as simple as a rake or a hoe or a grain mill, things like that.
looms.
So these things all woke up. Their inner soul or spirit or anima or whatever you want to call it woke up. But last but not least is the one that, of course, affected the world the most, and that's called word worms. So the final, most devastating curse of these creatures, who are called the others, by the way, is that no written words exist anymore. They're gone. If you open up a book and your eyes fall upon the letters, they burst into flame. Your eyes burn as well. You could call it an infection, whatever you want to call it, but there is no one except for one category of PC who can read, because the minute you start reading something or writing something, it burns up. One of the player character types, the custodes, can temporarily look at a page with their eyes blindfolded. People use symbols. They use things like knots, but you can't, for example, say, "Oh, I'm just going to leave a note for the other PCs." That does not work. And it really affects play because players are so used to. Yeah.
Wow, that's cool.
So when these four curses fell on the world, roughly 100 years before play starts, the equivalent of 1750 Amsterdam was destroyed. And now people are starting to rebuild. Commerce is starting to redevelop. And the reason it's called Rustwater is all the ships that were from this slightly pre-industrial age are rotting hulks out in the water now. Neat thing for adventuring. And that's pretty much where we are. So players start out, when they make their player character, they're in the main city. We have some patrons. We have a couple of starter adventures to let them get to know the world, get to know their powers. One of the categories of player character types is called a tinker witch, and they're the ones who work with machines. And they have this weird, like, love-hate, I don't want to say symbiotic, that's not quite right, but this both affection and fear and dependence. It's kind of interesting.
So OSR, so what does that mean then? What's the
Well,
for our listeners?
so I think it's great for people who like that old school Renaissance, but the game system itself is the Black Sword hack.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's the system. It's a roll under system. It's pretty deadly. I call it the combat is brisk and lethal. So.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, that's fantastic. Yeah, Black Sword hack is really amazing also for world building.
Yeah.
For world development. So that's a great template to use to build out your world. So that's fantastic. All right. So people go check out. So in the quick start, you have the full character creation rules then, and then some adventures.
Almost. We give the world background. We debated, I'm going to speak designer speak for a minute. We debated, include the character making rules or not, include or not. We finally, pretty much because of price point, don't have the full creation rules. However, that quick start pack includes the basic rules, a few monsters, how to get started, and one complete adventure and 6 complete player characters to pick from.
Okay, great.
Okay.
All right.
On a side note, I'm looking at them right now.
Yay.
So I guess we're gonna have to run that to either have maybe you or Wayne come on and run it, or we'll run it, because that's always a A friend of mine, Joe Salvador, who just did the Reaver Kickstarter, had us run some stuff for him just to test it out, right? It's always good to have other
Huge
people
help.
other than the creator sometimes test your work, right? Right.
It is so helpful when people do this.
Yeah.
Every time we run, we learn something.
Right. Right. So,
Oh,
yeah, and then you're in a way sometimes, well, right. So if I were to write an adventure, then I'd know like the stuff that's not written down, that's in my head. But so then you can, if you find a plot hole or something or a hole in what's going on, then you can fill it in. But
Yes.
a person who's not created it does not have that luxury, so they got to run as written, which is always a great way to test the system. So that's looking forward.
Yeah, I want to give a shout out here to Tim Gray, who was our editor. So I'm a clean writer. I write professionally. And Tim found stuff in there that, was right there, we didn't see it because we're, like you say, we're too in it. So he did a wonderful job for us. He was a great editor. So definitely give him a plug.
oh
Okay,
yes.
great. Nice.
Because I feel like I need to interject because I'm looking at them. I love the maps you have in here. Some in
Thank you.
color, some in black and white. They look as though they would be very easy to maybe put up on Roll20 and put a grid
Mhm.
system over. Very beautiful.
Great.
Yeah, I think so. And our maps were done by I think Wayne did one, but our buddy Zach Wilder at Wilder Whim
Okay.
did some of the other art, and he did a wonderful job.
Okay. Well, great. So, about next year, the full rule book, is it going to be rules and world book or
The
the whole?
the whole enchilada.
And you think Kickstarter or another crowdfunding platform?
We're probably going to go with Kickstarter. If not Kickstarter, then BackerKit. There's advantages and disadvantages to both. Yes, and I'll just give you a spoiler. The full book is about 200 pages long, so it's a large book.
Mhm.
And I think that's where all of the character creation rules are. A huge bestiary, some short adventure seeds, and I think we'll fold in yet another adventure. Now, one of the levels for our Kickstarter was you got a second adventure, but this will be a completely different adventure from either two that came out with our quick start.
Okay, great. Yeah, so like add-ons or not add-ons,
Yep.
add-ons or stretch goals.
Yes.
Yeah, stretch
That
goals.
is correct.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Nice. All right. Well, Amy, do you have any other questions about Rustwater? Weird
Oh
Fantasy,
no,
First World.
I'm just digging through it over here. Don't mind me.
All right. All right. Well, like you mentioned earlier, the game that Amy played in
Mhm.
was, I'm going to mispronounce it again, Psych
It's
Ward.
okay. You're close. Project Psyche.
Project Psyche. Okay, I remember. Okay, so Amy, you want to ask questions about that, or you want Dee to? If you want to talk, I'd love for you to talk about it. It's something that's
Oh,
yeah. All right.
this is the game that I played in and I loved it. So
Oh, gosh, thank you.
I thought Dee did a great job of explaining it. And me as a player, I tend to go off the rails. But you kind of went with it and adapted it to the game. And I love games where I feel like I have an opportunity to succeed. I might die, but I have an opportunity to succeed. And I felt like there was enough ability to succeed. And there was, I mean, an aspect of you may die.
And people did. That was
Yes, almost a TPK.
almost, but it
Almost.
fit how people, what the choices people made, and the things they felt they had to do given the scenario. I thought it was very appropriate.
It was. But for those that are listening that don't understand the game, I'll let you talk a little bit about it.
So Project Psyche, big spoiler alert, you're psychics. But how you get those psychic powers is kind of unique. This is a little bit different when Amy played it. It's a natural evolution of our testing, is that at some point in your life, you had some sort of encounter with the dead, the undead, the spirit world, the something, things like that. And it, for whatever reason, made you a psychic. That touch with the other world, with the supernatural, made you psychic. So you let's pretend you were 15 or 18. You found you had psychic powers. You just lived a normal life. At some point, you could have been hired to do some psychic espionage work or not, maybe. Who knows? But about 6 months before the start of the game, you were just doing your everyday thing, whatever that may be. You fell unconscious. You woke up a few hours later, and about half the size, if not 2/3 of the size in the world, were dead. You were given information psychically. Come to this point. You're given like a geographic point, like a point on a Google map. Come here, you'll be safe. And you are then thrown into a cell with however many other player characters there are. No idea what happened. But here you are, people you knew are gone. And you essentially have to give up your previous life, no matter what you were. If you were a lawyer or a teacher or a mechanic or whatever, you have to give it up and go underground for a while, because to find out what happened, what's going on, and what is this connection between psychics and dead people. Because as a psychic, it's not pretty to think about. And this is kind of the grim side of the game. You power your psychic powers by taking what's called plasma from people who are dying or dead. So without the dead people, you can't fuel your psychic powers. But at the same time, do you really want to? And, what if you're desperate? What if it means you need to kill the mook and suck their plasma out so you can save your friend's life? Are you willing to do it? So it's a game about a lot of moral quandaries. Right now, we have these cells. These are where the people have kind of come together saying, oh my gosh, what happened? What happened? Forming some bonds of friendship with the people in your cell, figuring out what the hey happened. In the meantime, however, you got to make some money, right? So you undertake investigations. And that's the gist of it. There's a lot more to it. And again, some things are still undergoing some evolution, but that's the main story.
Okay.
I know I had a lot of fun with it when we played. Are
I did
you
too.
keeping some of the aspects from the play test where we had certain objects that would link us back to certain places, and we had to explore those and figure out who really truly belonged to each one of those items?
Yes. So every dead person has, it could be very minor, but something that's a relic that connects to them. Whether I'm sorry, I'm blanking on the name of what it is, whether it's an anchor or relic, tether. Every dead person has a tether. And yes, you're exactly right. Part of it is not unlike Vason, is figuring out what is the thing that person's connected to, and what happens if you have it in your hand, or you can control it, or break it, or burn it, or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So what is the basic rules set, or how does that?
We are going with Games Workshop. Sorry to say 0 point module. That's not what I mean. Year zero engine.
So free leagues year zero. Okay. So the pools of D6s.
Pools of D6s, stress dice. One big change, Amy, based on a lot of feedback, is now it used to be that all psi powers always work, but people were like, if you're using year zero engine, we love that stress dice mechanic. When things fail, they get interesting. Don't make it so that psychic powers always work. Okay. And when we've been playtesting that with some definite improvement, I think.
Oh, yes. I mean, it gives the aura that it is deadly. And I think when it was always going off, we were utilizing that, yes, but not to the full potential it had. Because if it didn't go off, then it didn't give somebody else a chance to use theirs either.
That's exactly right.
So is it going to be kind of like Alien RPG, where you increase stress, or Walking Dead for that matter, you increase stress, you get more dice, but then something, right? The special dice, when the one gets rolled or whatever on the stress dice, then something crazy happens.
Yep, it's exactly like that. And what we've created, and we did use those in the game Amy played, is if you really mess up your roll, you roll on a psychic event table, which is essentially how everybody, or what was it, 3 people died?
Oh, geez.
I, I think out of our party of there was 5 or 6 of us, I think there was only 2 of us alive at the end.
Yeah.
But some of it was by choice.
Yeah, it's so funny that's just a aside. So I don't know if you're familiar with Warhammer Fantasy or any of the 40K games, but that there is a table where if you have a mishap, then you roll on the chaos table or the psychic event table. People love that at the table. They want to see what crazy thing happens. Most people.
They do. Yeah. And what we drew from obviously they're still being revised, but what we've drawn from is everybody think about Jean Grey using her psychic powers. She looks like she's straining on the toilet and she probably has a nosebleed if she's stressing out. Come on, she looks that way. I love X-Men. But yeah, we wanted to capture that. You can push it, you can have all those stress dice, you can feel like crap, but you just give it your all and you topple the the bad guy.
Yeah, you get the more those dice and hope something catastrophic doesn't happen.
Yep.
There's been some amazing moments in Alien RPG that I run and in Walking Dead where you're like, you roll the stress dice, you succeed, but oh no, more walkers or whatever. So walker gets you, and it's I don't know, it's pretty cool.
Yeah,
it's a neat system, and that's I think it makes it like it increases attention, and I think that's
bingo.
Yeah, increases attention. I think that helps for, I think, an immersive game, right? So very nice. Looking forward to that. Oh, go ahead, Amy.
One of the things that I noticed in the play test when we did that, and people would fail and they'd add more and more stress, it made the rest of us more anxious and more, okay, we got to get this done. Come on. Yep. You die, we'll just suck your batter and go.
Yep. It do be that way.
So what's the timeline for that? Is it still in playtest, or can you share?
Definitely still in playtest. My personal goal is to have a full draft done by next summer. Wayne is retired, which is awesome. I am not, so my writing takes place in the evenings and on weekends.
Okay.
So.
Oh yes, and then you can calm your nerves playing the cello, I think you said.
So I'm not a great cello player, but I guess I'm what you call steady. I always go to practice. I'll always work on my pieces. I'm not Yo-Yo Ma, but I'm a good team player.
Practice makes progress. So
that's right.
Yeah.
Right. So that's awesome. That's great. Right. So what else outside of gaming do you do then? That's a good segue into that.
So I've been
you can share. You don't have to share.
Yeah, sure. I've been active in the Society for Creative Anachronism since 1985. So this coming weekend, we've got a big event we're all going. Me and a circle of friends are going to. I do have 4 dogs. They keep us busy in a good way.
Nice.
May I ask you all a question? I'd like your opinion on something.
Sure.
So one of the discussions that goes on at our weekly game, and I'm curious, I have my thoughts, but I'd like to hear outside perspective. Are the days of a 3 to 4 year campaign over? Do people want to wrap up a quote unquote campaign in say 15 to 20 sessions and be done with it? Or is there a space for the long running campaign?
Well, we just got to a breaking point in our Twilight 2000 campaign that's been going on for 5 full years.
Nice.
And
go ahead. Yeah.
And so we still want to continue in the Twilight 2000 campaign. We just want to take a short break, kind of regroup, advance our characters forward, and then pick up with maybe another one of those types of modules that goes with it. So going home, or I think Carl correct me if I'm wrong, you talked about like a Mexico US type
Yeah, Red Star, Lone Star
adventure.
product that,
Mhm.
Oh, that sounds fun.
yeah,
Oh yes,
it's a
and
really neat. I ran like a iteration at BSRCon, just like as an intro to it. I didn't think we'd get to the whole thing or very far, but I think we got to some satisfying, combat and situations. But but
Mhm.
yeah, that'd be pretty fun to do. And for me, I still like the long campaign, and I think I'm fortunate that I have my home group and I have like a built-in player at home, which is Amy.
Hmm.
We're going to
Hmm.
help with that. So with my home group, we're we're on the last book of the Enemy Within campaign for Warhammer Fantasy.
Okay.
So that's 5 books, and we're like halfway through the last book. So, and then after that, we're gonna probably do like a little palette cleanser with the game. We already decided what that game's gonna be. It's gonna be Force and Destiny, run some Jedi in the Dark Times with the Edge system, and then we probably will jump back into another long campaign. So my home group likes
Nice.
long campaigns. I think but I play live, right? So I think
Right.
it's a consideration, and I feel I don't know if this is the case because I have to ask some of my players. I feel like on virtual, it probably is a smaller experience or shorter experience, right? Virtually, at least that's although the caveat is, so I started running a drop in, drop out, or proposed a drop in, drop out for Hyperborea last North Texas RPG Con, and it's
I
coming
see
on.
that on your shelf.
Yeah, and it's
Mhm.
coming. Yeah, up there.
Yeah.
And Mothership also
Yep.
has that awesome stress mechanic too. So,
Yes. Yes, it does.
but we're coming on a year, and I'm going to have like a year because a lot of people are also coming back to North Texas RPG Con. We played it online
Hmm.
too. Had gotten new players that didn't go to North Texas last year, but we've had that has lasted a year of a drop in, drop out, and I think it's worked really well. So that's been, we play every other week. That's what 20 something sessions. So
Yeah, it's a
good
lot.
session. So, in
Mhm.
5 years, I can't even, I mean, how many sessions is that if we play every other week for 5 years? That's crazy, right? That's 100 and
25,
some
25 times 125-ish.
125-ish sessions. Yeah. So
Oh yeah.
I still
We
like the
act
long campaign, but I think you have to have a dedicated group. It's depending on what your group wants. But I would say from my experience, if you have a in-person group, then I think it's a little easier.
Hmm.
I don't know, just
well,
what our
some
groups have been.
somewhat because the Twilight 2000 campaign, we had people from all over the world playing.
Yeah, and they're coming in and out at various points too. So right, so
Right.
maybe it just really
I
depends on.
I think it's the investment of the players into their character. If they love the
Yeah.
character and they love the gaming system, and I don't want to say sleep, eat, and breathe it, but I mean, there was times when I would fall asleep dreaming about my characters from T2K just because I'm just that enraptured into it. So I think it really depends on the players.
And I think the great thing about these games, so both in the case of the Hyperborea and in Twilight 2000, it wasn't like we had this elaborate backstory, 20-page, the mythical 20-page backstory for the character, but it evolved and it emerged from the gameplay. And that's happened with like one of my players was telling me for Hyperborea, it's like, yeah, I was just gonna come to this island that you set up and to for some reason that I had and a little note that I had about making money to go back to my family, and now I'm establishing a temple here. So, it just happens. It really is a character investment, right? I think. So what's
I
your
am
experience?
all about the character investment. And, at the end of the day, Carl and Amy, I'm a middle-aged lady, you know, in academia who sits around thinking up character stories every night and I translate those with Wayne's help into games to run for people. Because at the end of the day, like I was just saying, with Project Psyche,
Mhm.
I want that story. I have the backstory of the world, of course,
Mhm.
but I want, Amy's character, whoever's character, to be so invested in finding out, gosh, what happened? Why are we here?
Yeah.
Can we actually make a living as quote unquote psychic investigators? Could we do some psychic espionage? We got to make a living. We don't know anybody else outside these, whatever, 4 or 5 people.
Hmm.
That's the story I want to see the players tell.
And you don't think
Mhm.
that's like a short tale, right? That's a long.
I hope not. I would like it to be a nice, fun, long campaign.
Mhm.
Mhm. It felt that way. It felt like you could add players into it and utilize the strengths of each one because you almost have to have a diverse group in order
Yeah,
to have it work in the first place. So, I mean, I could see that being a long campaign. It
cool.
just depends on how long you want it to be.
Yeah, you could even have like a revolving, like if you wanted a long campaign, you could even have a drop in, drop out. Like there's a cell that forms, and occasionally they'll get a recruit, or like
Yes.
a recruit will come in, or that's a great way to introduce a player as they get rescued from the people who want to do harm to these type of people, something like that.
You've been reading my Google post. No, I'm just
Oh
kidding.
no, I just thought of that.
I'm
That sounds like a
teasing.
great.
I'm teasing.
Yeah.
So, well, cool.
Oh,
Well, do
but
you have any other questions for us, Dee?
I don't think so. We're extremely grateful that you're having Kismet Games here. I look forward to running some games, and it sounds like we might have some playtesters for Project Psyche.
Great.
oh, absolutely.
Okay,
We'd
but
love to. And you'll find our group once you say, "Oh, we're going to do a test game," they'll flock
Yeah,
to it.
yeah. Hope so. So go
thank
check
you. This
out
has been good.
Mhm.
Kismet Games. They have a lot of nice products here on drive-through, and you said itch.io as well. They have their little trifold adventures, Shadow Dark, the Rustwater products, some OSR, OSE, the Vason Invading Wood stuff. Uh, you have this Dungeon World as well. Cool. And then what's a Great Golden Raid? What's that?
So, Green Golden Raid
Green
is like
Gold.
a setting you could use in a OSR game,
Oh, okay.
or I get the language mixed up, OSE.
Yeah.
Um, it's a setting you could run multiple adventures off of.
Oh,
Yeah.
cool. And then there's even have like old D20 system. Well, one D20 system.
Hmm.
Mhm.
So neat. Oh, wow. Cool. Well, so they have quite a few products on drive-through, and you said itch as well, right? I'm looking at the
That's
directory.
right.
Itch.io.
And we also are tentatively planning to be at Southern Fried Gaming Con.
Okay.
I didn't come up with that name. And also looking to be at LugCon. Both of those are going to be in Atlanta. I know that's a drive for some
Yeah.
people,
Yeah.
but
Southern, is that does Leonard Skinner perform at Southern Fried Games?
I wouldn't be a bit surprised if the remaining living members of Leonard Skinner played there.
They played like a couple a New Year's ago and live in Nashville, so that's pretty neat.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
was
Yeah,
fun.
they're remaining members. Played Freebird, of course.
Oh, yeah. Well, I want to definitely thank you. And I'm going to encourage our listeners to mark it on the calendar to check us out because our YouTube channel is going to have the live play with you. We might not be streaming it, it'll be taped, but it'll be there. Definitely check it out and go get that Kickstarter. I'm telling you, the maps are definitely cool. Love it.
Yeah,
Thank
check
you.
out Rustwater. It sounds like a fascinating, and Black Sword Hack is a really nice game. You know, it's in that sort of vein of Into the Odd as well, right? So Black Sword Hack, Into the Odd, very quick play, deadly enough, tense enough, and that sounds like a really neat world actually. So I do have one more question for Rustwater. Do you ever meet the others? Are they around? Can you meet?
Oh, what a wonderful question. I'm going to say that you can meet the side effects and incarnations of the others. How's that?
Okay, fun.
That's up to the players to decide. That's what that
Yeah.
sounds like.
All right. Probably up to the GM and the players and how they maneuver through the world. All right. Well, looking forward to the Kickstarter. We'll definitely, I'm sure we'll see you at some of the online cons for sure at BS or Con 5, I'm sure. And
Yep.
we'll have more news about Rustwater at that point too, about the Kickstarter and crowdfunding,
Yep.
opportunity for it. All right. So thank you so much, Dee,
Thank
for
you.
coming on to
Thank
talk
you.
with us here at the Geomologist Presents.
Appreciate it, y'all.
appreciate you coming. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So good night and good rolling.
Good night. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.